Hello everyone, my name is Kyle Nastra. Today I will be talking about public relations and crisis communication in sport. So sport public relations is defined as the management of information flow between a sport entity and its public, both internally and externally, to present an organization in the most favorable manner possible and establish mutually beneficial relationships. So the main focus of the chapter is how sport organizations can use the media to create a positive image and attract outsiders to their brand. There has been an exponential growth in sport public relations in recent years, influenced by several trends. A couple of those being the growth in the business of sport and the continuous availability of information due to the internet and TV. With this growth, the sport industry can be considered a multidimensional industry, which led to communication with key publics and a focus on public perception. Public perception is important because a public's image affects consumers' involvement in a sport entity. Now, sports serve as a microcosm of society, at least some people see it that way. Social issues in the realm of sport have played out and have mirrored the social issues in society. Sport entities are forced to place great emphasis on public perception. Now, there was 4 key models of public relations developed by experts to establish effective and favorable relations with the public. I won't go into much detail about those, but the 4 are the press agency publicity model, the public information model, the two-way asymmetrical model, and the two-way symmetrical model. When practicing these forms of communication, organizations' main focus is persuading the public to buy into what they're doing through developing messages and seeing how they react to them. Now, another section in the chapter highlights the key elements of media relations and provides strategies for enhancing media relationships while presenting the sport-focused organization in the most favorable manner. Now, sport receives tremendous coverage in the media. It is extremely important to maintain positive relationships with the media because the media can either enhance the image of the sport entity or absolutely destroy it with one story. Nowadays, the mass media shapes public opinion because people have seemed to have lost the ability to think rationally and create their own opinions. It's important to have a good relationship with the media because a good relationship, it doesn't always mean that there will be good news always reported, but it ensures good communication between the two, and the organization is aware of what the media is going to put out and why they are doing it. Now, the mass media has the power to shape the message of a post-game interview, say, a news release, or any other indirect public relations. So sport public relations professionals must understand the journalistic environment in order to foster positive relations with the media. Now, the book goes into details about how organizations can anticipate contact from the media, which is very important. If the media comes to an organization with a story, and the organization can have the right facts in place and give them the correct story so they can put the truth out to the public, which has happened sometimes, but not all the time, as you can see in the Ray Rice scandal when the Ravens and the NFL claimed that they did not have all the evidence and they did not have that video of Ray Rice hitting his girlfriend. So that's one example of how things play out and how organizations need to get the facts out there to the public and not mislead everyone. So another section in the book, it deals with the community. So for an organization, it is important to be involved in the community. When you're involved with the community, the people, your consumer base, they feel part of what you're doing. So it's important to have players, say if you're a professional team, professional franchise, have the players interact, go have a signing day, run camps for kids, just create that positive image and enhance your brand at the same time. Let's see. There are interview tips in the chapter, things to think about before the interview, things to do after the interview, and things to do during the interview. Let's see. There's the next section after the community section is it's based on managing communication during a crisis. So there have been many crises in sports in recent years, in this era, in this generation, just because of the media and how much information they have and what they put out. So a few examples they have in the book is the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers brawl back in 2004, when players got in a brawl and then took it to the stands and started fighting fans. And then they have the Barry Bonds and the Mark McGwire situation, where they both took steroids and admitted to it, which I know it's not good, but it did help the game grow, and it did help popularity, per se. So it's not always a bad thing, but sometimes the media does mislead the general public whenever they put out stories and make them seem a lot worse than it actually is. But these crises, they do affect the image of leagues, teams, and individuals, which I don't think is fair, because I feel like athletes these days, they don't have much privacy at all. Their life is under a microscope, and it just doesn't seem like they have a real life. They're living this fantasy, and they don't even know it. And one little mistake can end their career, it can ruin their image, and I really don't think it should be like that. So, and the chapter also provides guidelines for responding to crises, how to prepare for them. It even gives a crisis kit and a summary. So things you can do beforehand to prevent a crisis, and whenever there is a crisis, you can have a policy in place so that you can react to the situation in the right way. So the value of public relations to the sport entity should never be overlooked, especially when trying to sway public opinion in a manner that is favorable. Public opinion is instrumental in cultivating favorable relationship among key constituents. Now, public relations is something that is going to evolve as we keep going on in this generation. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't like where it's at right now. Just from an athlete, I'm an athlete, and I understand what the professional athletes are going through. It's not fun. You live a life of paranoia if people don't live the way that you do. So I think it's something that we need to cut back on. But I understand that this is part of the business of sport. I just don't think sports should be a business. I think it should just be about the sport. All right? So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day.